This is the Stockwell Eldridge Show, giving you the real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Don Eldridge.
Good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
We missed it.
I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
You forget. I'm Don Eldridge with RE/MAX Results. I was gone 1 week, and Jason forgets our intro.
Pump. The Nux. We didn't do the Nux. So this is the Stockwell Eldridge Show every Sunday, 10 a.m. here on AM 1280 The Patriot. We have another great show for you today. We're going to be learning a lot. So here's some of the things I just want to touch base on that we're going to be talking about with Mark. Mark's in the hot seat over there. So we have permit to carry, situational awareness, firearm familiarization. Some of these things are hard to say there, Mark. Protection in the home, marksmanship coaching, hunter safety, range club, special events, and more. So we'll be talking about those things. And first off, I want to welcome Dawn back. Thanks for coming today, Dawn, and welcome back from Florida.
Thank you. It's nice being here again.
And
I brought the sunny weather with me, too. Yay.
And the great weather, yes. And we are in the middle of a real estate market right now where we had the guest last week who is the chief economist or one of the lead economists for the Minneapolis Area Association of Realtors.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that show.
Great show, good statistics, a lot of information. So what we're seeing is that there's still a low supply of properties available or houses available for sale. However, we're seeing some pushback from the buyers that we didn't see earlier in the year and even as recent as a month ago. So you're seeing a lot more contentious transactions, either in the negotiation of the sale, but more so I'm seeing it after the sale has happened. You're starting to see people fighting and bickering a little bit more than they were in earlier than the year, maybe a lot more.
You mean after the closing, or
not after the closing, after
the purchase agreement?
Yes, during the inspection period, there's other things that are going on.
I've seen that a lot too.
And I think it's a pushback from the buyer saying, hey, prices are going up, prices are going up, prices are going up, but we're finally going to draw a line here. We're finally going to say, hey, that's it. We're not going to be pushed around anymore. The seller, you can't just throw this property on the market as is, get top price, and then do nothing. We want something from you. Throw us a bone. Give us something to show us that you care about us or the property. I think that's what some of it comes down to.
Yep, I agree.
But
I've had some sellers doing it, too. I had a transaction where the sellers would not sign a VA amendment, so they were switching financing.
The buyers were switching their financing?
Yep, which they took on all the fees, so there was nothing different for the seller at all. No additional fees. And the seller refused to sign the amendment unless the buyers moved their close date up.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, so one thing about real estate, folks, is everything. It's good and bad, but everything in real estate is negotiable. Everything. Your price, your furniture, your agent, your commission, your closing costs, your closing date, your terms on your finance. Everything is negotiable in real estate. So when you open up and make a change as a buyer and say, hey, we're changing X, Y, and Z, no big deal. Well, the seller might say, like your seller did, Don, or the client, you were the seller that was not your client, might say, hey, you're asking for a change? We really would like this instead now. Let's throw this in there too and then lump this together. Otherwise, we won't agree to this. So, so you got to be careful. And it happens quite a bit when you get changes. And especially if you have a seller who feels like maybe they were you know what I mean? If they said, oh, we didn't know this, we feel slighted, or they felt like it was a bait and switch scenario or something like that, that could be what happened.
Well, they did feel like that, but it truly wasn't what happened. We had gone through the inspection, and the buyer didn't even realize that he could use his VA loan for the property because of the price point. It's a higher end price point. And so he actually saved 2% in the interest rate by switching to VA. So it saved him a lot of money. So, yeah, I was a little surprised by that.
And there's a lot of stress going on. So
yes.
Real estate agents, if you're good, you're busy. So you have stuff that's going on.
And stressed out.
And stressed. Same thing with loan officers and title representatives.
Which is why you got to go running and work out with me in the power suit sometime.
Really? Yeah, I got to try that. I still haven't tried the power suit yet.
Just try that fasting, yeah.
Fasting like Barry. So I bring in tacos today, and I have a leftover pork chop. All the thing, I eat it. I like to eat, and I like good food. If you can't tell. And I offer Barry, who's our videographer, Barry White, I offer him a pork chop with mashed potatoes and gravy, or potato and gravy. And he said no, or he didn't say no, he just kind of didn't do anything. And I'm like, oh, okay. He doesn't want it or not interested or whatever. And it turns out he's fasting today. So the one day I actually bring in food and offer it to others, he's fasting. And then lo and behold, there's homemade
Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispie bars with chocolate on top in the conference room, and those are off limits too for Barry. So that's a test for fast. I think it just happened today that when you're fasting, that's when it happens.
I think those are supposed to be off limits for you too, according to Katie. So.
Oh, I had one? Oh, wait, there's chocolate all over my lips. I'm sorry. So the other question I have is, Dawn had a stressful day a little bit. Dawn, can you share a little bit about a situation that happened? So here's one thing I want to tell you about associations. If you're living in a community or development that has an association, which I just sold a condo in Minnetonka that has an association. They ordered the resale disclosure. The seller didn't know she had to order the resale disclosure. It's a few $100s at least. And again, another expense that was not totally known to her about selling the property. And I said, well, when you go to sell a house, this is what you need to do. And she's like, okay. So she added that to her list of expenses. But when you're in an association, the association makes rules and changes and does things, and sometimes it doesn't go exactly with what you as an individual want. If you're selling a property with an association, not only should you get the resale disclosure, but you probably want to get any and all information you possibly can from anybody else in the association of what's going on with your sale, because this can happen. And I'll let Dawn share a little bit of the story here and see what happened here.
So, representing the sellers on a townhouse, and the townhouse association was run by the owners, only 4 units in the association. So during the process, the association turned over to a property management company. And yesterday, we were informed in a roundabout way, not by the new property management company, but through the CD and the title company, that the dues were going up to $300. They were at $225.
So a $75 a month increase in dues, and
and we're closing tomorrow.
This is a day before closing.
Well, and hopefully the borrower can still qualify, because that could impact somebody's
cash
debt ratio.
transaction.
Oh, well, that's good.
But obviously they expected something for the increased dues.
Because they didn't know. No one knew about this. So
They were only searching places 250 in dues and under, and now suddenly they're over. So we had some pretty brutal negotiations this
and it's still in the mix, so we don't want to get into detail or too much on it, but it still hasn't been totally resolved yet, and hopefully it does happen.
Well, I know I came late
got it
to
resolved.
that.
You did get it resolved.
We did get it resolved, but it was brutal and lots of tears.
Well, I was going to say, I apologize. I came late to the party, but that's why with condos, we have an entire division, condo project approval division at Wells Fargo, because it's constant. It's ever changing. There's bylaws and things like that. And it is consumer and buyer beware, because, and I mean, that's.
Well, association dues are always going to go
Well, that can really,
up. They always will.
What was the price point of this?
$200.
So that's a total first-time home buyer. $75 could kill the deal.
Yeah.
That could blow up their debt-to-income ratios, and the deal is done.
Absolutely.
They just lost that house.
I know.
So that is so... And they could do that just with, they didn't have to have a 30-day notice that they're increasing the dues or anything?
No one knew.
No one knew.
Until the very end.
The association management company didn't inform my sellers even of it. They didn't know. So it was like, what just happened here? I've never had that happen in 13 years.
We don't know. So,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of associations. There's a lot of properties that are run by associations, and most of them are great, and there's a lot, and they're doing very well with what they're doing with the money. But when you get a change like that, where it's going from self-managed to hiring out a management company, you're going to have that substantial increase on a small association like that.
Yeah.
Can really throw things off.
Well, and even I would just say, too, if you are an owner of a townhome or a condo, get involved. I go to my association meetings because you want to know if they have too much investor concentration or too much rental concentration and so forth, because that could impact you even if you want to refinance.
Right.
And so sometimes homeowners
Yep.
aren't aware. They think, oh, I'm just paying my dues. Everything's hunky-dory. And there's all this other underlying stuff that's going on. So even if you are a homeowner and you pay association dues, get involved, ask those questions about, the investment concentration, the rental. Because a lot of places, like I know where I live, there's a lot of rentals that people didn't notify the association that they were renting them out. And our association got into a difficult situation, and people weren't able to. I mean, it's a big townhome association in Blaine. People buying, selling, moving, and they had to make a quick correction.
Yeah.
Really quick correction.
I see that often. I mean,
And usually it affects most of the time, anything with an association will affect the homeowners that are trying to sell at that
Right,
moment
trying
in
to
time.
sell
Yeah.
or refinance, buy anything. You can't
So-
do anything. No lender will allow it.
Same thing with litigation. I think we talked about this on previous shows, but if an association goes into litigation because they're approaching their 10-year warranty, that will dramatically affect those who are trying to sell the property at that time, because no lender will do a loan, any loan, unless it's a portfolio loan or some sort of
Right,
commercial
which
loan.
Yeah.
very rarely happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on a association that's
What
in
is
the
that? I don't know the
litigation.
10-year warranty. What is that? I haven't heard of that.
So when they build a new building, or there's a Minnesota statute, there's a 10-year warranty on the property. So
for material or not material, construction.
for construction,
Yep.
so what
Okay.
happens is attorneys, God bless them. We missed Nate Nelson here today. Actually.
Yeah, geez.
We could have had him on the show today, but attorneys, outside firms, even outside of Minnesota, will reach out and solicit associations that are approaching their 10-year and say, hey, let us just file a lawsuit, just start a lawsuit. You might win something out of this with the association and the previous builder, and then it's no lose for you. We'll go on a contingency, and then you get free windows, rail for siding, or maybe you'll get some money out of it, and
Oh,
then we'll take a
interesting.
contingency on it. Then they'll lock it up in litigation, and then the homeowners that are trying to sell at that time are just like, in Hugo, there's the one that's going on right now. They're $160,000 units selling for $120,000 because they can only sell to cash buyers. It's dramatically negatively affecting the homeowners at that time. So just know situational awareness. We're going to get in with Mark here in the next segment. That would be situational awareness when you're a home seller.
Well, like I said, even if you live in one and you're not thinking you're going to sell, get involved in your association so that you can help avoid those things so it doesn't impact you.
Hopefully, you do not need to bring in a permit to carry for your association meetings.
But if you do, we'll
or
learn more about
marksmanship
that.
coaching.
So when we-
Jeez, Jason, he just goes right from let's get involved to permit to carry. Wow. Well, this is going to be good.
when we get back, we'll be talking more with Mark about all of those things we talked about. Stay tuned, folks.